Okay, hi everyone, welcome. Thank you so kindly for joining us. My name is Cara Johnson. I'm the event coordinator for Green Apple Books, and tonight I am very happy to welcome Sarah Rosenthal to celebrate her latest book, Estelle Meaning Star. Let's give a hand for Sarah. Sarah is also joined tonight by poets Nathalie Khankan. Let's give a hand for her as well. And please keep it going for Hazel White. And Maw Shein Win. So we have a pretty crackerjack group of poets joining us tonight. I'm very excited about it. I'm very proud of our poetry programming that we do at the store, and I think this is just an excellent addition to that, and it's been a pleasure to organize this with Sarah and to have some new and very familiar faces here in the audience. I'm very happy to be here with you all this evening on the eve of Halloween. Thank you all for joining us. So thank you for joining us here in person and also online. Hello, online audience. I have a camera over here in case you can't see. We are broadcasting from San Francisco. We open each of our events with a land acknowledgement, and so I would like to let you know that we are operating on unceded Métis Ohlone land, and we think that acknowledgement requires action, and so we encourage you to donate either your time or monetary means to an Indigenous organization each time you hear a land acknowledgement. And we, in particular at Green Apple, generally direct people to the Métis Ohlone Land Trust. We have details about that organization at the back desk in case you're interested in how to participate in this project of renutriation. Very brief business before I let these folks take over. Now's a good time to silence your cell phones if you have not already. Please don't take a call in the middle of the event. Our event calendar is really great for the rest of the season and then going into 2025. I'm so sorry to remind you that 2025 is right around the corner, but we have a really great season ahead of us, including the event that you're currently attending. The restroom is behind me. It is available after the event, not during the event for obvious reasons. If you need to know how to get there, do let me know, and I'll be able to help you. We have copies of books by all of our poets at the front register. You can find them there. If you've been here before, you've certainly heard me say that when you buy books from us, not only do you support us as an independent bookstore, you support the writers who put so much work into making these books, then you get to have a book, which might be the best part. And in this instance, we actually have a really kind of special groovy deal going on with Sarah brought two additional books outside of Estelle. And there's also, and correct me if I'm wrong, Sarah, a CD where if you purchase any of the books for tonight's authors or Sarah's books, any books from tonight's authors, you get to take a CD home, which is pretty cool, which is, it's compositions from Lizard, correct? Excellent. So in conjunction with her book Lizard. So you get some music to go home with, which is pretty cool. And if you already purchased some books and you didn't grab that, please do on your way out and let me know if there's any complications with that. Excellent. So thank you, that's very generous. And I'm really glad we get to share this continuing multimedia experience. Without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and introduce all of our poets at the top of the hour. And then I will let them take over and take you away. How does that sound? Okay. So let's see. Keep those clapping hands ready as we continue on. First, Nathalie Khankan is the author of Quiet Orient Riot, recipient of the 2021 California Book Award in Poetry. She is the founding director of the Danish House in Palestine and teaches Arabic language and literature in the Department of Middle Eastern Languages and Cultures at UC Berkeley. Let's give one more hand for Nathalie Khankan. Hazel White's two published poetry books track the story of landscape and the body. Her latest work reckons with the legacy of capitalist colonialist violence in the white community, and it reflects on the white body as a historical body and identifies emotions of whiteness, its expressions and harm in intimate and public life. She has performed work at SF MoMA and the Yerba Buena Center for the Arts, received the Creative Work Fund Award, and been a finalist for National Poetry Awards and the California Book Award. Let's give one more hand for Hazel White. Maw Shein Win's poetry collection storage unit of the Spirit House. We have to update this to say that your newest collection is your newest collection. Was nominated for the Northern California Book Award in Poetry, longlisted for the PEN America Open Book Award, and shortlisted for Caliba's Golden Poppy Award for Poetry. She is the inaugural Poet Laureate of El Segundo, California, and her most recent full-length collection, Percussing the Thinking Jar, is forthcoming fall 2024. We happen to have some copies here tonight if you are interested ahead of publication date. Is that correct?
Yeah.
You can get them here early. And let's give one more hand for my. And last but most certainly not least, Sarah Rosenthal is the author or co-author of several books, including Estelle Meaning Star and One Thing Follows Another, Experiments in Dance, Art, and Life through the lens of Simone Forte and Yvonne Rainier. Her collaborative film, We Agree on the Sun, won Best Experimental Short at Berlin Independent Film Festival. She and her collaborators recently completed a second film, Lizard Song, based on her poetry collection, Lizard, and her latest collection, Estelle Meaning Star, is the reason we are here tonight. Let's give a hand for Sarah Rosenthal. And I'd like to introduce, welcome back, Nathalie Khankan to read first. Welcome, Nathalie.
Thank you, Karen. Thank you, Green Apple Books. It's always so wonderful to be here. I live just down the street, so this is my bookstore. Sarah, congratulations. Your book is beautiful and quiet and constrained, and yet opens up to so many murmurations and hauntings. Today I went with my students to BAMFA in Berkeley, and we saw to see the exhibition To Exalt the Ephemeral. And the curators, they lifted that title from Polish artist Alina Skapoknikov's work. Skapoknikov is known for using experimental materials in her sculpture investigations of the human form. And she said in 1972, "I want to exalt the ephemeral in the folds of our body, in the traces of our passage." And how beautifully, Sarah, that you're doing that, exalting the folds of our bodies, the traces of our passages in this new work. I'll read a few poems from it. And I also just want to say I really found solace in it. I really did. The women whisper solace to the dying dead, proceed slow stepping along the rim, making their way to the far edge. They carry the dying dead. Some crouch, grab handfuls of dust, rub onto their own skin, making their way to sea edge. The women carry the fragile greed. In measured step they walk, the narrow ledge hold. Their stricken charges drip water onto parched tongues. I haven't written very much, but I wanted to read new work, so this is the only work I've been able to write in the last year. And it's an elemental, the poem is elemental in a way I think resonates with the work in your book, Sarah. The title is Hajar Yassini, and it's really a poem about stone as matter, as building matter, and about, it's a poem about skin touching stone. Stone doesn't just by itself become home or hearth. Hands touch and tame it, an assembly of hands. And we also have to remember that stone doesn't just by itself become ruin or wrecked. The title Hajar Yassini refers to Deir Yassin, a village just west of Jerusalem, And Hajar means stone in Arabic and refers to the warm, pale, beige dolomitic limestone that is so characteristic of old houses in Jerusalem. And that limestone comes from the nearby quarry, the Deir Yassin quarry. For centuries, the men of that village were known for their stone artisanry. They carved and chiseled that stone so carefully. On April 9, 1948, Deir Yassin became the site of a massacre, what is known and commemorated as the Deir Yassin massacre by Zionist paramilitary groups. Within less than a year, the village was depopulated and erased. There is, of course, a tangible line from Deir Yassin to Jabalia and Beit Hanun in Gaza today. How do we mourn something that hasn't ended? This poem is a song in a way to stone and skin and to Palestinian men, those tender men of the stone who carve and carry and dig through all manners of stone. Hajar Yassin. She is held by hands, his hands are fields. He who has tears, he whose hands, he who held her with his ordinary hands. See rock, see good rock. See this cusp, see this wall. Every cistern, see, arch and tomb, pink veined stone. See stone piled and spilling, still like water, still water in the well. Still like water in the village well. Good stone. I laid on you. I lay on you. I will lay my skin on you. I will lay my skin on your skin. See a sea inside stone. This is a sea of stone, folding and swelling. Inside a well, water. Inside stone, veins of stone. All he wanted, he held. A fine face he held in his hands. His hands filled with lines. What he didn't know was this. He didn't know a dying and a dying and a dying. Say, standing stone. Say, plain stone. Say, good, plain stone. What will he take with him? What will he take? What will he do with his hands? Hands that chisel, hands that carve, hands that touch and touch stone softly like this. Whose are these hands? Whose flesh freely? A girl's first face. See how living she can be. All his arms around her, fine fields with lines, hands that touched bellies and bellies of stone. Inside this stone, years of stone, solar and solid, his hands on belly, on bone, his hands, fields. Inside this stone, plumes of stone, dolomite, matter, and bone, concrete bone, welling, no, flowing through eternal hands. Still a cypress grows in a cemetery, still a cemetery near a quarry. It calls for the hands of no one, nobody, that's all now. A cypress cemetery, quarry, village, a well, and see. See on this stone, ordinary hands. On this stone, bread, and cloth, and a songbird. Thank you. I think
what is it? What is it?
white
Yeah.
people will, yes. Hazel White.
So a word people, but we can't do the logic. So thank you all for coming, and thank you, Cara and Green Apple. I've written a little something. Congratulations, Sarah, on your book. On the publisher's website, at the very end of a description of her book, as if shyly, Sarah says she is in the process of claiming the stance of the visionary, the seer. For decades, she's been using her dream life to build something that inhabits the cracks and fissures of consciousness, that enlarges the world we thought we knew. A contemporary poet of Sarah's standing choosing visionary poetics is, I think, brave, and the enlargement she speaks of is very interesting to me. I felt the expansion with the arrival on page 1 of the women walking the Pacific Rim, retrieving abandoned animals, cradling their bundles of pain as they walk. The women, she writes, moan in lamentation, reminding me of a Greek chorus on stage wailing over an event from a sort of collective consciousness. The women hiding their fear walking on the Pacific Rim is a powerful image. It soars higher than intentional writing about a personal experience of cancer. Danger Dog arrives several times in the book. For me, it's a similarly charged image. I'm taking Sarah's visions seriously. The headline of an article on consciousness published last month, there are lots of recent articles by scientists on consciousness. The headline read, "Your consciousness can connect with the whole universe. Groundbreaking new research suggests." This latest clue about the architecture of consciousness supports a Nobel Prize winner's theory about how quantum physics works in your brain. Thank you, Sarah, for bringing to us a sense of ourselves as traveling and sorrowing and caring for other creatures wide out in the universe, collectively, as stars. The work I'm reading tonight is in complete contrast. It's land-based. And I wrote it when I was a journalist writing about landscape architecture for a living. And I was very taken at the time by J. Appleton. He's a British human geographer his theory of landscape called the prospect refuge theory. And so that proposes that humans have two instincts in relation to landscape. One, to explore it, that's the prospect part, and second, to find shelter, the refuge part. And so those instincts would have been survival advantageous when we lived in trees 2 million years ago, which is considered recent in terms of human development, to risk leaving safety to find resources and to scout for danger and, of course, to shelter from that danger. He also says that these instincts have survived because they give us pleasure. So in the work, you will hear all kinds of propositions about up and down, horizontal and vertical, risk and safety. And I guess I consider this a sort of grid of a lively person in the landscape pursuing survival. So the title of the book is Peril as Architectural Enrichment. And the first poem reads, the canopy of a tree, say a poplar, like a round house, removes the sight of vulnerability, the obvious entrance, and back with no protection. Privacy can creep about in the leaves and below them, hang here as lungs on the outside. Isometrics will show the interior corridors, ways to habituate oneself to curvature. To take a house up on stilts also, above that first tall leap that allows a beast into the tree and onto her. Pocket any peril that's evaded, swan warm on the clear lake, or look out at it, especially nice between ornamented columns, to set a mid-distance that invokes one's own grandeur. Another pleasure from up aerially, to see along the tops of hedges and skis sunned on top of it all. Goodbye to all the dimmed crannies. An armchair by a tall fireplace, and look out entirely horizontally, through glass windows, over lawn floors, receptacles of light's courtesy. Peril can be pushed into the distance, into a consolidation, like a town, although it's bound to have one messenger running. Truant on the tree's pinnacle, missing the last chance to go to school and socialize as normal. To be beginning architecture over. Scale up and scuff this, shimmy knot by knot into corolla, pelvis, dendel beneath the skirts. Grow tall and tipping into blue chicory-like flowers, so plural at the edge of fields. Half-inch snowdrop blossoms in lanceolate green brace offer solitariness that relates to January ice, sudden whiteness by brown water. A lively woman is led forward this way, from darker to lighter zones. Luminous circumscription exists beneath the drops. Call it a faintly blessed tableau, territory doused in milky generosity. Proceeding through repetition of values, infinitely small differences create elasticity and eventually a clearing. In times of peace, approaching a lily, after an initial greeting in a narrowing hallway, one might descend towards saturation, into petal parlors where light and dark curl over one on the inside. Somewhere in the drop is a flare that suggests an interior staircase and an invitation to be a pollen carrier. Even the bulge in the calyx speaks to an ability to hang out over this. To bear out shape, one must get up and into it. A loss, an absence of shape, a change of weather. Begin over. Restate a low horizon and a high empty sky. Repeat it by and make a wish to write something beautiful. Luckily, reflection does help scissor meaning, the way the floor of the Taj Mahal subdivides recursively to accommodate multiples of emptiness during a life, separates the sublime from the beautiful, circular domes over square rooms, and then in a sidestep breaks the planes and hurls the minarets into the rectangular garden pool, sky and all. Up goes a splash, volume rigid with oxygen. Fronting all that doubled longing is coming upon a clump of trees on a ridge. Their diagonal boughs are mother's skirts near us, and thus a landscape forms a fresh nest. Greet it or fall down. Anyhow, you'll see the surface dematerialize and change with the colors of the sky until the architecture on shore is no larger than a toy. Brio brought back inverted and immaterial to the garden from which it had been removed. And then the last poem in the book has a title. It's the only one that does. It's called Build. Pillow along, no asperities, interval it, flower, treetop, grass, an oxbow lake, a deeper ravine. Spin encounters as LA's focus light. Thank you.
Congratulations, Sarah. I am so happy to be here with friends, and thank you, Carr, thank you, Green Apple Books, and I'd like to begin by sharing an opening excerpt from Sarah's process note. I started my book, Estelle Meaning Star, during a period of illness, an experience of extremity, both in terms of physical pain and discomfort, and in terms of an acute awareness of the sensuousness of form. One realizes how easy it is to become not here, not me. And yet, miraculously, one is still here, feeling hopeful or sorry for oneself or grimly determined. And then recovery, the shufflingly slow yet undeniable return of energy, strength. Still and forever marked by treatment side effects, still and forever marked by the knowledge of precarity. Sarah's process of recording her dreams during treatment and using cut-ups of her writing resulted in these exquisite works that are in her book, and I would like to read 3 of her poems. This is on page 6. Some of them bend down, gather fistfuls of dirt, rub onto their skin. This is on page 3. The women tread slowly. Some carry parasols, shade faces of the dying, dead. And this is on page 7. Walking the rim with their bundles of pain, the women gaze down at stricken eyes, stroke faces. Thank you. And now I'd like to share some poems from Percussing the Thinking Jar. Okay, and this is my first poem, Stroke Log. Roots awake from ash, small green shoots through ground, fan palm, yucca. My mother had a stroke. Coptered from Joshua Tree to Palm Springs, we tossed suitcases into the car. Drive on the 5, past the 3-car accident. Emergency vehicles arrived. Lobelia and eucalyptus, lung curatives. Burns darken the hillsides. Incense cones and gold bowls, the surgeon calls. My mother will have a thrombectomy. At the monastery, the seminaries chant. Blaze burns, young bark, smoke in the air. A PT says she can lift one arm. We call on the phone, wait, in friend's casita, 110 degrees outside. My mother speaks in whole sentences again, can walk. A miracle, says a nurse. Redwood ash along the highway, look up from car window, heading home, sky space. 3 weeks later, a second stroke. I board the plane alone, masked, anxious. Return to the monastery, touch her dry hands. We listen to roadrunners. And a second poem. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Well, this is a series of different types of logs as well as standalone poems. This is called Sleep Log. I talk while I sleep. Sometimes I laugh for a long while. T tells me that I speak quickly and can only hear my side of conversations. I dream about caves, lakes, drapes. I flap my arms with much effort, fly upwards, hit a smooth white ceiling. My snores are delicate, T says. I hear a disembodied voice, snap, alert. For years, nails and shards of glass flew from my mouth. I imagined this as rage. Sleep under 4 heavy blankets. Dream about losing a purse, even though I don't own one. My older sister visits me. She died 6 years ago. She swings a leopard skin pouch around on a golden chain. She is glowing. I whisper, everything is going to be okay. Okay, and this poem is called Tympanum. A friend tells me she wants to live in a house with no light. Only rooms with walls she must touch to find the door that leads to the dirt path beneath invisible trees, growing from a break in the brick. A breakdown we live inside. Our eye cell, skin cell, fingernail. They tell you to take a break. The child who lives upstairs runs. Sometimes she falls. She rarely cries. She doesn't stop. I lie in bed, recovering. Tears roll into ears. My eye had a breakdown of the take-a-break cell. I. Look up. The floors have ears. Tympanum bounce. I'm on medical leave. Specialist says stare at a spot. I stare until I blur. A spot on the wall observes action in the room, moving glasses. From one location to another. Night, fall. Hands make shadows. My ceiling, their floor. The child who lives upstairs runs. Sometimes she falls. She rarely cries. She doesn't stop. I lie in bed, recovering. Tears roll into ears. And, And this is one of my thought logs. I have like 24 thought logs, but this is one of them. Thought log. I visit my therapy horse once a week. loquat soup, badger prey, parlor locks. Wipe us down with iodine. Fawn coral, porch render, wardrobe blood. Our intimate bubble state. What some refer to as temptation bundling. Surrender fully to the movement. I undervalue my post-capitalist work. Monitor coffins, banister motif, creek ballots. We unpack our elegance armor. Is emptiness a placeholder? Competitive landscapes, distilled manifestos. The streams are disappearing. How we find ourselves in metaphor quarries. Poppy icing, hair weapon, chubby rain. You're a something reverb. And this is my last poem. And it is also called Stroke Lawn. Stroke Lawn. From our second floor window, I watch the neighbor below, taking piles of orange leaves, hair in a high bun. After my mother's second stroke, I tally the lexicon that remains. She monitors her blood pressure from afar. A friend paints a series called Goth Mountain. Recalling failed utopias, I send another 3-line poem. An uncle sends texts all day, photos of suits, glasses of wine, messages to senators that unnerve. On a walk this morning, I see our mail carrier, lean legs, fingerless gloves. I offer gold-wrapped bonbons. He accepts. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Nathalie, Hazel, Maw. Such a pleasure to hear your work and so meaningful to me. I just kind of want to go home and lie on my couch and think about your work. I don't really think I need to read, but I will read. So I think there's already been some really helpful introductions to the nature of this book. It looks like this. If you haven't seen it, I guess everybody here has pretty much seen it. Yeah, so I don't think I need to say too much about it. I just want to also really thank Car. It's been super fun collaborating with you. Let's do it again. And thank you so much for coming. And thank you, remote people, for showing up online. So I'm going to read a bit from Estelle and then a bit from my an earlier collection, Lizard. And then we're going to see the film Lizard Song. So I will say that Hazel asked me a really provocative question a couple of weeks ago. She said, did I write Estelle Meaning Star or did I make it? And I kind of stumbled around for a while, and then I said, well, I made it. And that's a really, the physicality of it is really important to me. The physicality of making it was really important to me, and having that be the visible marks of that still show. Yeah, I'm going to read a little bit from the second half, and you're getting a lot of the women tonight, so there must be a reason for that, and I think it's connected to the election. Cradling abandoned animals, the women walk along Pacific Rim. Sometimes they pause, rend shawls, bandage limbs. The women whisper solace to the dying dead, proceed, slow stepping along the rim. Making their way to the far edge, they carry the dying dead. Some crouch, grab handfuls of dust, rub onto their own skin. Making their way to sea edge, the women carry the fragile, grief. Some adjust parasols, shade animals from sunburnt delirium. In measured step, they walk the narrow ledge, hold their stricken charges, drip water onto parched tongues. They carry mangled animals to the far edge, put the creatures to rest. The women place the broken at sea edge, stroke till waves lap the bones away. Institute a thank you, log a line, didn't exude the proper excitement as I ambled to jot down example. Before the bell attitude stank 100 times. Order stops kids wandering through hallways, looks deep into eyes, and they look up, what does she want? Pants and skirts, young, and still tied to nature, spiral, root, not sit upright, assignment, settle down. Make sure this set functions, nothing broken or jagged, classroom well outfitted, page well ruled. Students can't see the book from here. Appropriately face the teacher, dumb. Dumb, unplanned, out of control, unapproved, work to do, for punishment, mounds of reading, make sense, spiral, spring, out of, body of, water, sparkling, breeze, spacious, space, and. My name is Estelle. I turn on my center. I'm trying to rotate against a glassy black, assume can be done with others. Assume discussion is simple, meaning Estelle dots the night, and every name does. Does speech freeze? Does mistake imply trauma? Is the situation playable? How to appear among what's heard? Does it, I've heard its meaning, I say, try at least, variations, celestial, bodies constellate, in firmament, confer. Try the word star, provisionally she, who, all of us, confer in the night sky, Estelle Meaning Star. I'm going to stop there, and then I'm going to, out of the blue, my older brother, Dave, who is a musician, started sending me songs that he had set, music that he had set to this book, Blizzard. He, he's pretty handy with the tech, so he was using an app that allows you to kind of band, I don't remember which one of the ones that, you can program all of the instrumentation. And he's a pianist also, so he was able to do that part. And so he started sending me these sort of like fully, musicalized pieces. So we got excited and decided it was would be interesting to make a film. based on this music, and I had already made a dance and poetry film. So we got going, and it became the film you're going to see. And ultimately, we did not use his music, but his music is on the CD. It turned out that it was better to score something that had a little bit of a different feel for the film. So I just thought I would read those first 5 poems, and then we'll just watch the film. And the film is like 6.5 minutes long. So. Okay, so these are the first 5 poems from Lizard. Is the sound okay?
Yes.
Yes.
Lizard means I don't speak your language. She means I don't share your brain. She learns with her scan, negotiates with tail and jaw. Her response is nuanced, but your grid trances her. Hunger saps, leash abrades. Your gaze a promise you can't keep. Sometimes she collaborates, sometimes self-propagates. Progeny, true replicas. Study any one of them. Each mirrors her cell, her breath, her deliberate gait, her fracture line, her frictional adhesion, her prehistoric, her salivate, her scale. A bad translation has Lizard cutting off her tail to spite her fate. But she grows a new one, steers with it, stores fat against the slim days. Replaceable parts help Elle stay cutting edge. She's working on her head. Only her belly is famously hers and can be stroked. She'll turn over. When danger's near, she pours her flesh into purchased beige, becomes a dish too ugly to taste. Out of harm's way, she sloughs pale cells. Radiance gazes out like a necklace everyone wears. She rests lightly, awaiting messengers, drifts off to wake famished. But feeding's a chore to a groggy girl. She sprawls in a cloud of bad breath, wanting to warm the day, warm to the day. Day isn't hers, it borrows. So, oh, you're going to do the lights. So let's see. So Cara and I are going to do a little thing of coordinating our respective speakers. So, Car 1, 2, 3. just like to show the credits to give everybody their props. And